Okay. Hi guys, I'm Mae and this is Sam, and welcome to workshop 3 of the series that we are creating. So it's all around career and self-development. And if you haven't already looked at the other workshops, so we've had workshop 1, which is around knowing yourself. So understanding, what type of personality you are, the way you communicate, and really, identifying who you are. Workshop 2 is all around the skills that you don't even know you have. So we kind of delve into why your generation is so special, because you guys really are. And number 3 is all around redefining success. So what we wanted to do is kind of, they are in order on purpose, and we want to kind of take you through this, I guess, kind of, self-development journey. So this one's all around redefining success. We're going to take you through, I guess, the difficulty of identifying what you actually want from your career, and prioritize what makes you fulfilled. Sam and I have actually been best friends since we were 8, if you guys didn't know that. But we were best friends, and we actually decided that we wanted to quit our jobs and work together because it sounded so much fun. And I think this, we kind of want to just go, like, I guess, tell you a bit about us, our journey, and kind of what we've learned about not only working together, but also, I guess, how things have kind of changed, throughout. Because I think at the beginning, we definitely had different ambitions. And I think it's okay to, change, to switch ambitions, change it around, and then really just work out what exactly you want, because I think that really helps in the long term. So Sam and I basically went down this little journey of discovery. And Sam, we were in the car, weren't we?
Yeah, well, I was in the car. I was on the way back from
Manchester. Oh, aren't you in the car?
Yeah, and you were in London, I think. We'd got ourselves into such a little rut. We'd had a bit of not a falling out, but we'd had stern words, hadn't we, when we were trying to create this. We'd been asked to pitch on this project together. And we had a strong difference of opinion, I think. It's a diplomatic way of putting it, when it came to the approach of how we should do the pitch. Anyway, so I was in the car and Mae was in London. Do you remember, Matt, as you found out about whether we or not, and we didn't get it? And we lost out to our constant rivals. So it felt like this was kind of constantly happening. This other company were always winning the pitch and we were always second. Anyway, so this is definitely the closest we've ever been to an argument, I think. And we were worried about money, and there was all of this stuff. Losing out to that company again was just another kind of nail in the coffin. And so Mae called me to tell me that we hadn't got the pitch, and it basically sparked off this 4-hour-long conversation while I was driving back from Manchester, about just soul searching and just being why did we fall out? This is awful, talking about all of the financial stress that we've both been under, and the ambition, the pressure that we were putting ourselves under to essentially fulfill this idea of success that someone else had basically decided that we need to hold ourselves up to. I don't think Mae and I are materialistic people at all, but we'd felt this real pressure from external forces to be living up to someone else's ideal. We didn't have an office, we didn't really have any employees, we weren't doing this or whatever, and it just felt like we were being made to feel like we'd failed because we hadn't fulfilled this checklist that someone else had given us. It all came out, both of us, I think, it all came out in this 4-hour-long phone call where we basically did our talking about what made us happy and what did we really want from life and blah, and all of this stuff. And it was unbelievable to just get it all out, kind of we all of a sudden began to realize that our quality of life is so much better than anyone that we knew who was earning shed loads of money. And actually our lifestyle is what all of these other people are working towards. The reason that they want all of that money is so they can have a lifestyle like ours. And I think it was just this light bulb moment, wasn't it, Max, where we were like, oh my God, it was in front of us the whole time. And the reason we weren't seeing it is because we totally thought that we should be chasing this other definition of success. And so I think for us that day, like the definition of success just completely changed. And it didn't become about the finance, because we were like, we've already achieved what you want that finance to get. And it works for us. And, you know, we're not saying that this works for everyone, but what we want to make clear with you guys is to have a think about what you actually want, have a think about the way you want to live your life. And it might be that the financial goal or the thing that other people are telling you to work towards doesn't fit with that. And it doesn't necessarily, you don't need that. You don't need to fulfill someone else's stereotype of success. Anyway, so that's
love that.
That's
exactly.
A bit of a story. I do like getting into the detail.
So Sam has actually come up with 5 things that I guess just kind of help you look at your own career, your lifestyle, and just a few things that hopefully will kind of spark ideas and make you kind of I guess rethink, redefine, and sometimes it's better to just like step out of your current situation and like look at it from a fresh new perspective. So should we go in to 5 things?
So just a little disclaimer, these are 5 things that basically you will want to work towards, I think, and just put in order of priority. Like it might be that everyone has to do rubbish jobs. Like that's not something that I'm saying you won't have to go through, but this is I guess how you can start thinking about what you might working towards something that you didn't realize that you wanted originally or was being disguised by something else. So so this is kind of what that list is all about. So hopefully you'll achieve some of them certainly at once. Anyway, so first point, think about who you want to work with. So we've already mentioned that obviously we're best friends, and so working together is an absolute dream. Some people can't work with their best friends. Okay, so just be wary of that. But the point is that you basically spend at least 35% of your waking hours at work. That's a solid stat. And you probably spend more time with them than you do your actual friends. So the people that you surround yourself by at work are super important. Hopefully by now you'll have done workshop 1, and so you'll know roughly what your personality type is, but also what other personalities you gel with quickest or respond to best. That's a really good way of identifying kind of what kind of colleagues I guess you might want. You think about it. If you're an introvert, do you want to be surrounded by introverts, or do you want extroverts around you to draw out the extrovert in you? Do you connect best with young people? Maybe you do want your best friend, and you don't want to be in a team. Or maybe you're an alpha who needs to be the boss of the betas. I feel like I might fit into that category. Want to be alpha. Think about what type of people make you happiest, and then put that on your wish list. So, point number 2. So you've got to identify also what brings you small joys. So I feel like Mae and I have very specific small joys here. So I love being by the sea. I was brought up in the countryside, so I'm very much a countryside girl. So I like kind of space and I like water and things like that. Mae is actually a bit of a city girl, isn't she? So you like that sort of like restaurants and things like that. Like Mae's quite, she's a very cosmopolitan person. So
again, I think it's that like feeling of being around people, but then you don't speak to anyone. You can just hide in your flat.
Such an antisocial girl. I love it. But like the small little joys in life, so my little joy is going for a walk by the sea. Like I just really like doing that, and I think my quality of life is ever so slightly less if I can't do that. But it's those little joys that build up and create the big joy. So So I think it's really important that you basically make a little wish list again of little tasks, or not tasks, little activities, little things that bring you joy.
And from that, Sam actually has now moved to Brighton, which is really exciting. I think that's, I guess, the result of her sharing what her joy is, and we made that happen. And obviously, I know that if you're working for a company, that it's not as easy as working for yourself. But it's like just knowing that also makes you, like you said, you're better at working when you're comfortable and when you're happy, in your environment.
Okay, point number 3 is, what tasks do you enjoy? So May and I, we've basically both established that we enjoy tasks that have a physical end. Like, we like that physical, tangible product, don't we, at the end of things? So we often do things on a project by project basis. So, we create events, and there's very much an end to the event, isn't there? And, we create mini magazines. There's very much a finished product to that. There's a tangible thing that you can actually physically enjoy. We love that stuff, but we do like different elements of that. So I like the kind of beginning process of that. So I guess throwing out ideas to people, or having them throw ideas back to me. So I'm less of a detail person, but May loves project managing things as well. She likes bringing everything together to create this beautiful, polished, finished product. So there's a real skill, there's a real beauty in finding the satisfaction, the bit that really makes you satisfied about a job or about a specific task. So if you have a hobby, for example, if you like painting, what is it specifically about painting that brings you the most pleasure? Like, where is the satisfying bit for you? Is it hanging it up on a wall because there's something in that? Or is it literally just being able to put broad brush strokes everywhere? It's very important to identify which element of your work you actually enjoy, because often it can be mistaken for a much broader idea. For example, I really used to think that I was into content creation, but then I delved deeper, and then what I realized is actually the content creation, not so much a fan of. I like the fact that I produce a finished product, same as what we said earlier. So yeah. So if you really enjoy composing long emails, and you like, I don't know, maybe you like clicking the send button afterwards, or maybe it's the categorization of how you set out the email. These are all really important details that give you an insight into the bits that you enjoy most, the kind of job that you should really be going for. Hello?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's
Oh,
perfect.
so good.
Sorry, I thought you were going into, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So you were going into, you said it so well that I just had nothing to say.
Oh, well, fantastic. Okay, well, I'll move straight on. So point number 4, the environment that you thrive in is so important. Do you want to be a big fish in a small pond, or do you want to be a small fish in a big pond? Physically, the physical location that you're in is super important, and also that goes down to office as well. If you aren't good at places without natural light, that is a huge issue. If you're applying for a job in a company that is in a windowless building, that would affect
a cave.
if you are being caged, yes, that is a human rights issue, I'd say. But it is so important. That will remember, you are going to this place, well, quite possibly after coronavirus, I don't know about it now, but if you are having to go to an office every single day, the physical aesthetic of an office is so important. Anyway, so I always think that people underestimate how important the environment you work in is.
I think you've also got to be honest with yourself, and because obviously, you need to think about social and how well you work, which is 2 very separate things. So I do think, you have to be honest with yourself. How do you honestly work better? And unfortunately, you can be, I think for me, sometimes I want to be in a more social environment, but actually I know I work better when I put my headphones in and I can just be with no distractions. I know that that's the way I work better, and I think I have to be honest with myself and put myself in that situation.
Yeah.
Even though you might like to be a sociable worker and, you know, be able to work amongst co-workers and stuff.
Yeah, it's so true. And actually that's missed out that point. The actual job, the actual company that you work in, like if you aren't good with like loads and loads of people, maybe working in a big office is not for you. Like, it's totally okay. Like, that, I think a lot of people get really scared by the term startup because they think it's risky. It's not risky anymore. Startup is a very widely used term for a number of different like levels of business. But it might be that you actually want to work in a team with like 30 people and you don't want to work in a team with 3,000 people. And that's okay. That's absolutely fine. You just have to identify, think about the environment that you thrive best in, basically. And then number 5 is something that is very close to our hearts, which is don't take yourself too seriously. This was basically the whole thing that sparked off the light bulb moment, I think, for Mae and I back when we had our 4-hour-long car journey conversation. We just realized we were taking ourselves so seriously. We were like, we are missing the journey because all we're doing is focusing on the end. And it means that you're not allowing yourself to get excited about anything. You're not allowing yourself to get upset about anything. You're robotic in the way that you are literally just gunning for the end, but then you're stampeding over all of the great stuff. You're missing all of the great stuff along the way. You have to enjoy it. You have to laugh. You have to take the piss out of yourself sometimes. It is a bit of a joke. Life is just a bit weird.
And literally there's ups and downs all the time. So it's never an upwards journey. Yeah. It's the messy middle. That's what we were talking about.
Exactly. Yeah, Mae's been reading this really good book.
It's a really good book. It's called The Messy Middle. And it's basically just saying that you are slowly kind of like, you know, improving in your career or success, but it goes up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down, which is, I think that when you learn that, it just makes everything so much easier. And like, you can accept things and yeah, exactly, have fun along the way.
Yeah, so true. One thing that we always want to make clear to people is that like everyone is just guessing, and it feels like a lot of people have stuff worked out, but Mae and I we've gone through a lot of trial and error when it comes to our careers and what we're doing. And I think that's part of what this all comes from, is that we want to share some of the stuff that we picked up along the way, but genuinely no one knows what they're doing. It's really difficult. Life is impossible. So anyway, that's it. That's the 5 points in an article.
That is the 5 points. So like we said, you know, we've got an article that has everything written down and a little bit more information, and that's available on the ERIC website. If you guys did like this workshop, we are actually creating the ERIC app, which is really exciting, and it's all around career and self-development content for young creatives. And we're also connecting you, and you guys can discover companies who align with your interests. So if you're interested, do sign up on our website to be a tester and be one of the first to know when it's available. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. We hope that was useful. And we look forward to seeing you guys in the next workshop.
Bye.
Bye.